And so it's Tuesday and time for live stream. Hi Vitali. Next stream is going to be on Thursday, which will be the 29th of May at 3:30 p.m. UK time. So yeah, let's see. Hi to Julia, Oksana, hi to Ronan, hi to Slipknot, hi to Victoria, hi to Vitali, and hi to anyone else who comes in. So lovely to have you all. Hi there to Julia. So let's go for it. Okay, this should be the last one about these plants. Hi Maurits, hi Nadia, lovely to see you. And learning how these plants differ in their responses to drought might expose, reveal, proclaim, leak, report which genes have been lost or switched off. So, reveal for Oksana and Victoria. Let me put that straighter. Reveal for Vitali as well. Okay, so, how they differ in their responses to drought might expose, reveal, proclaim, leak, report which genes have been lost. Reveal for Maurits, reveal for Julia, reveal for Vitali, reveal for Manisco and Nadia and Slipknot. So let's see. Evince, yes, it's a much more might evince which genes. It's a much more formal word. It's an interesting word to use, Oksana. Okay, so you expose something that's hidden. A reporter exposes a scandal. Reveal is clearly the right word, meaning to show. To proclaim, you stand somewhere and you make a proclamation. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. A proclamation. To leak is an escape of private information. And report, well, you report to your boss, or you report to your to your government, a report. And whether these can be reapplied, reinserted, reinstalled, remounted back into TEF, a genetic modification that is more likely to be successful given their close relationship. Herald, to proclaim. Yes, in many ways, Slipknot. Herald, a herald is a person with a trumpet. And here is the king. To proclaim. Normally you proclaim is to make a statement. To herald in. Yes, it is Slipknot. So let's see. Reinserted for Victoria and Oksana and Nadia. Reinstalled for Manisco. Reinserted for Julia. To herald in. A beautiful sunny day heralded a great picnic. It's something that, yeah, it proclaims it indicates that something's going to be true. Okay, and reinserted. So to reapply, to apply again, no. To reinstall, this is a program. Reinserted back. Yep, I quite agree with you. I think it's probably better without the back. Inserted back or reinserted back. But if you look, all of these are re-words. And I think I agree with you. The back is reapply. Can be reapplied to TEF, but this is talking about putting genes back into, to reinsert. You reinsert the genes that have been lost. TEF is a type of crop that grows in Ethiopia. It's like a type of wheat or something like that, but it's extremely resistant to drought. to reinstall, can be resettled. You see, reinserted, really, for me it really is, because this is playing with the DNA. This is using CRISPR to insert a little piece of DNA into the DNA of this Teth. Reinserted, to me, absolutely. Okay. It's a work still in its genesis, infancy, upbringing, debut. Regrafted back into, I like that word, yes. Regrafted works very well, Vitali. Infancy, Vitali says. It's a work still in its infancy, says Maurits. Yeah. So genesis, infancy, upbringing, debut. Infancy, says Julia. In its debut. Okay, Manisco, let's look at this word debut. A debut is normally the first time somebody appears. Genesis, says Nadia. Okay, so this is his debut playing for the Brazilian football team. The very first time. He made his debut on the London stage when he was 15. Infancy, says Oksana. So, Genesis. I think Genesis would work. Hi Chaya, lovely to see you. I think Genesis would work, but in its genesis, its genesis is the very, very, very beginning, and infancy infancy is when somebody is an infant, a baby. Your infancy is from the age of 0 to, I don't know, 5 years old. Rinna's debut was, I don't know what Rinna's debut, but it's the first time Rinna appeared. In infancy seems to be, yes, in its outset. I would say at the outset, Oksana. At its outset. So I think infancy is when it's young. Genesis is when it's born. The very birth of it. Infancy is saying it's still young. Okay, it's from an infant or a toddler. And upbringing is your upbringing is your education as a child. So yeah, he had a very strict upbringing. So infancy, in its infancy. Whoops. And here we go again. Manu goes for upbringing. Your upbringing is when you're being brought up. So I would guess that Manu, your upbringing was in Canarias. Hi, dummy account. So, hi. And early morning, Manu. But already it seems that security, safety, sanctuary, protection against sunlight is one of the main differences between the two. But it already seems that security, safety, sanctuary, protection against sunlight is one of the main differences between the two. Infancia. No, infancia is the answer, Manu. Protection, says Julia, says Victoria. Protection, says Oksana. Protection for Vitali. Protection for Nadia and Manisco and Julia. Protection for Maurits and protection from Manu. It's still a pruning research? No. Pruning is to cut off. When you prune, you cut bits off. So we've got to prune our budget. It's still a pruning research. No, definitely not. To prune is to cut back, to reduce. I'm going to have to prune my beard. UV X-ray here. Wolf, 11 out of... it's turned it up to 11. Renyard says protection. It's good to see you. Okay. Security is about people doing bad things. So you go through security when you go into the airport to check you haven't got anything you shouldn't. Safety is against accidents. Sanctuary is a safe place. So the rabbit sought sanctuary in its hole. And high saw min, protection against, particularly with this word against, protection against, definitely. Ooh, I like this one. So, E. nidense produces antioxidants inside its leaves, and a coating of anthocyanins, essentially a plant's version of sun ointment, sun cream, sun balm, sun salve, on its external surfaces. Yeah, you could say sanctuary or safety. Yeah, it's safety for the rabbit. Yeah, protection 50 plus. So cream. Manu says ointment or cream. Cream for Oksana. Highlando. Cream for Lando. Balm for for Vitali. Cream for Julia. Ointment for Victoria. Cream for Manu. Cream for Manisco. Cream for Sormin. Sun cream, says Manu. Okay, let's see. Cream or salve, says Nadia. It's not a balm, Vitali, unless you have already burnt yourself. So, for example, when I'm bright red as a lobster. Okay, but one of these is a collocation, Victoria. A balm is to make it hurt less. So they say that you should put aloe vera on your skin after you burn yourself, and that's a balm. To balm is to calm down. That's the idea. They're kind of translating a term into layman's terms. It's a cream. Yes. Sun cream, yes. An ointment is a medicine. You put an ointment on an infection. A salve. You use lip salve to stop your lips cracking, but it's sun cream. Sun cream. It's got to be sun cream. Sun ointment. No. Sun balm. No. Sun salve. No. It's sun cream. It's the only one it can be. Ointment for the baby's bottom, yes. Made of zinc. Zinc ointment for the baby's bottom. That's very good, Manu. So, smash the like. Ointment if there's some injuries. The cream is for like daily care, not for medicating. That's the point, dummy. Yes. So, we have ability for Manu, ability for Vitali, forte for Lando, ability for Julia, ability for Victoria, ability for Maurits, ability, although I'd say forte as well, ability for Nadia, ability for Sormin. Forte could go as well, says Manu. This power doesn't have this power, this special power. The power of flight. The power to turn water into wine, the power to do miracles, the power to give somebody a criminal a pardon. It's not power. A flair. Flair is when you have you're really good at some ability. You've got a really good knack. So all of you clearly have a flair for English. Forte. Okay, a forte is something you're really good at. And I think in this case it's an ability. Although I think forte would also work. Let's see, languages are his forte, his strongest point. Maths was never my forte. Good. So Manu says, okay, wait a second, Renya. A word, a synonym to young. For instance, a young learning lawyer. Fledgling. Fledgling lawyer. Trainee. We need more context for this one. Tef doesn't have this power, no. This ability. Ability's the best. Budding, good word, Lando. I like it. Up and coming. Well done, Vitali. So, well, Tef doesn't have this ability. It's a delicate balance for Enidensi to put off, push off, pull off, pick off. A power struggle between two opposing parties is imminent and inevitable. To pull off, says Lando. Pull off, says Maurits. Pull off, says Oksana. Put off, says Victoria. To put off is to delay. I'm going to put this work off until tomorrow. To pull off, says Manu. As in to accomplish, yes, Lando. To pull off, to do something difficult, to do something, be successful. Pull off, says Nadia. Hi, Alex. To carry off or to bring off as well. To pull off is a delicate balance. To push off means to go. To pick off means to choose a target. Sunscreen, yes. Sunscreen and sun cream are the same thing. Yes, they are, Alex. That's why I avoided that word screen. So to pull something off, to be successful. Okay. Sunlight is essential for a water-filled plant to grow, but during drought it can be lethal, leading to undisciplined, unruly, uncontrolled, reckless photosynthesis, the production of reactive oxygen radicals, and damage from UV radiation. Hi Firdabs, lovely to see you. So uncontrolled for Vitali, uncontrolled for Manu, uncontrolled for Oksana, uncontrolled for Lando, uncontrolled for Maurits, uncontrolled for Renyard, uncontrolled for Nadia. So undisciplined. Soldiers should be disciplined. Yeah, undisciplined. Or maybe my class is undisciplined. Unruly. Not obeying the rules, failing to obey the rules, reckless, acting without thinking. A budding research project. I wouldn't say a research Renyard. A budding research project, you would say. You need something at the end. So uncontrolled for Nadia and uncontrolled for Julia. Unimpeded, yes. He was fined for his reckless driving. Absolutely, Julia. Uncontrolled. Okay. For Tef to have this option, however, might... Unchecked would do, definitely. Unchecked would be a good word, Lando. For Tef to have this option, however, might allow it to survive the hardest, nastiest, heaviest, harshest drought and grow another day. No, let's see. This is delicious bread. This is a delicious bread. It depends if it's being countable or not. This is great news. This is a great piece of news. So no, you don't use the article unless you've got one of these structures with so or such like that. So harshest, says Vitali, harshest for Oksana, harshest for Firdavs. Harshest for Maurits, harshest for Julia, harshest but heaviest sounds slangy and would work, I think. The hardest drought, says Manu. Harshest, says Nadia. Saul goes for hardest, Manu for hardest. Hi Mertens, good to see you again, welcome back. Redeem and compensate as synonyms. This compensates for this redeemed. Yes, I think you could, Mertens. Heaviest for dummy. Unruly locks. My unruly beard for Firdavs. Does hardest work here too? Nastiest, says Chaya. I was thinking about, let's see. Unruly member. A heavy drought. It doesn't collocate very well. A nasty drought. It could be, but it doesn't collocate well. The hardest drought. Again, it doesn't collocate well, but harshest collocates perfectly. Okay, a harsh punishment. A harsh climate. Compensate, make up for harshest. This is a very good word. Something that's very intense and very demanding. The harshest drought. So, unprecedented. Okay, that would work as well, with a different meaning, however. So, the tiny seeds of Tef, crushed, milled, powdered, grated to make flour for bread and pancakes, might just hold the key to a more sustainable agriculture. So the tiny seeds of Tef, crushed, milled, powdered, grated. Milled, says Oksana, crushed, says Firdavs, milled, says Vitali. Milled, says Julia. Crushed, says Maurits. Milled, says Manisco. Milled, says Mertens. Milled, says Nadia. Let's see. Powdered, says Saul. Milled, as in processed in a mill. Yes, Lando. Milled to make flour. Yes, Manu. Okay, let's look at these. Grated. You take cheese and you have a grater and a thing with holes in, and you grate the cheese up and down on the grater, and you put the cheese, which is in little strips, on your spaghetti. Ground. Not grinded, ground. Grind or mill, says Martins. Yeah, grind, ground, ground. Okay, let's see. A milled. That's E Billy. Welcome, L Billy. Okay, a windmill. What does a windmill do? It grinds flour. It mills flour. To crush. Let's see, very often I like to use black pepper in my cooking, and I put the black pepper in a mortar and I crush. But if it's crushed, it's very big. It fights with knights. Yes, exactly. That's a great reference, Oksana. I love it. It tilts at windmills. So crushed, powdered. Powdered. Normally something that's powdered has been dried, but no, it's milled. You put it in a mill and you grind it until pound would work. Pounded. Whoops. Pounded. Okay, I love it. Sancho Panza. So, okay, to mill, a watermill, a windmill, a millstone. Okay, a mill, to mill, a coffee mill. To mill is to grind into small pieces, to mill or to grind. Treadmill. Yes, okay, exactly. It's better to have a donkey with your milling your seeds. Okay, and let's go. So, just as maize, rice and wheat were raised, reared, spawned, bred for higher yields at the expense of resilience in the 20th century's Green Revolution, such crops would add resilience even if at the cost of a slightly lower yield. Lando says bred, to go through the mill. Good phrase, Virdavs. Reared, says Vitali. Bred, says Oksana. Bred, says El Billy. Raised, says Alex. Bred, says Julia. Yes, Sancho Panza. El mejor amigo de Don Quixote. Bred, says Nadia. Raised, says Reynard. Were bred for higher yields. As in cultivated, combined. But you see, so Maurit says raised or bred. Raised for crop, breed for animals. You breed cattle, but you can breed plants as well. Let's see. Notice this is changing the characteristics, the genetic characteristics. Hi, Emmanuel, says raised. Merton says isn't the word bred. Okay, from breed. Raised, says saw. We are talking about bettering a grain. We are talking about improving the genetic makeup. Reared, says Firdabs. You definitely rear and you can rear plants as well. You see, I think raised, reared and bred can be for both animals and plants. Spawned. Spawned is normally for frogs. But spawn is for animals. So we're talking about bettering the grain. We're talking about improving it. And that makes one of these words better than the others. Okay, time for me to wade in then. To raise is just to grow the plant, to grow the animal. Rear as well, but bred, to crossbreed, to mix one with another. spawn for water animals. Yes, definitely Maldives. It's bred. The answer is bred, because you are putting together the best characteristics in order to get another characteristic. Let's see, dogs. You have different breeds of dogs or different breeds of cats, and this is by crossing one animal with another, and that's why it's bred. Bred, not raised. Let's see, raised would fit. Breeding, it's breeding. So raised and reared is just growing it. They were grown for higher yields. A plant breeder. A plant breeding facility. Yes, because let's see, if you take a crossbreed, and definitely, it's definitely bred because you're looking for the best plant, the best. You're improving it rather than just growing it. They might have a low yield, but the maintenance, sustenance, livelihood, subsistence farmer has a crop, says Farrand. This is regardless of whether it rains in 10 days or 2 years. Hodja, thank you for the word Hodja. I love it. I'm Alex Mertens. Okay, my name's Alex Mertens. You're making me think of Nasruddin Hodja. To artificially select, exactly. That's the point. Breed, artificially select to breed. Subsistence for Vitali, subsistence for Lando, sustenance or subsistence for Manu. Sustenance for Julia, sustenance for El Billy. Okay, this is somebody who grows the food that they eat. Nasruddin is one of my favourite characters, by the way, Mertens. Self-sustained farmer, yes, he's a self-sustained farmer. Okay, I'm really glad. Maintenance for cars, that's a good one. Sustenance for Nadia. Okay, so it's not sustenance. This is a collocation. It's subsistence. Yes, exactly, Vitali. A subsistence farmer who grows enough to eat. I'm sorry, Patricia, it's good to see you. I'm sorry, we're near the end now, unfortunately. Livelihood farmer. Let's see, the idea is good, but the collocation is a subsistence farmer. A subsistence farmer. This is the collocation you need to learn. Sustenance is food. Yeah, and I think maintenance, sustenance, livelihood would work, but the collocation is subsistence. Subsistence, yes. Subsistence, yes. Yes, Lando. Schwa in tunce. Subsistence. Well done, El Billy. Livelihood says the means of supporting or sustaining oneself. Yep. Exactly. A subsistence farmer is somebody who is on the edge. Exactly. It began half an hour ago, P. And this is the idea. If the person has a bad crop, his family go hungry, and that's why it's a subsistence farmer. Is somebody who subsists but no more. Okay, and this is the next story. Subsistence. A subsistent farmer. No, subsistence. A subsistence farmer. So, how fake Hitler diaries fooled the British press. This is the new one. Okay, so in April 1983, a German magazine, Stern, and a British newspaper, the Sunday Times, stated, maintained, reported, claimed to have made one of the century's most extraordinary historical discoveries. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Lando. It was such fun. Claimed, says Maurits. Reported to have made. Claimed, says Maurits. Reported, says Oksana. Vitali says claimed. Manu says reported. Renyard says claimed. Claimed is good too. Elbilly says claimed. Firdab says reported. Lando says reported. Lando says claimed. Merton says reported. Claimed, says Emmanuel. Stated, says Manisco. Claimed, says Julia. Reported, says Manu. Claimed, says Alex. Nadia says claims or reported. So I'm much happier with one of those than the other. So let's see. Let's look at stated. Your daughter Victoria helped you. That's great, El Billy. I love it. So stated that they had made. Claimed, says Patricia. Yes, you're in with us. A news has reported yesterday that. Thank you, Alex. All but claim require a that clause. Well done, Alex. That's it. Reported that they had made. Claimed to have made. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop there, but thank you all for coming. This is the this has been great fun. So let's see. I particularly like this one on Tuesdays because there are not so many people, and state requires a that clause as well. Exactly, Mertens. Claim is the only one that's followed by an infinitive. Yes. So next stream is on Thursday, which is the 29th of May at 3:30 p.m. UK time. So it's been wonderful. I'll see you all on Thursday. Time flies. That's great. I'm sorry about the notifications, P. There's nothing I can do about it. I take a stick and beat YouTube. It's not going to work though, unfortunately. So let's see. Thank you to Alex and thank you to Arnda. Thank you to El Billy. Thank you to Emmanuel. Thank you to Firdavs. Thank you to Julia and Lando and Manisco. Thank you to Mansa. Thank you to Manu and Maurits and Mertens. Thank you to Nadia and Oksana and Patricia. Thank you to Renyard and Saw and thank you to Vitali. Thank you all for coming. It's been great having you. Thank you, Firdavs. Thank you, Mansa. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Mertens. It's been great. So that's great. Take care, all of you. And I will see you all on Thursday with a bit of luck. So take care, look after yourselves, stay safe, and bye for now.